2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the Shawnee County Commission, and joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could start with our first item.
Our first item is item 3, consent agenda.
There are 3 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding the item?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Vouchers are totaling $1,398,586.92. Our largest amount is with pooled cash, and most of that is payroll, $619,491.84. We also have, under Bridge Project, $40,000 is for design work for Southeast 29th Street Bridge over Deer Creek. And under Lake Shawnee and Green Space Parklands, Central Garden and Pet Company is totaling $28,910, and that is for grass seed. So if there are no questions, I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, emergency management number 1, compliance officer's mid-year update regarding AMR's compliance with contract requirements and benefits received by Shawnee County.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile Ambulance Compliance. This is the report for through June of 2018, showing that AMR is in compliance with most of the requirements. It's a hybrid report because at the end of the year we do a bigger report that covers all of the contract. What you have before you are the kind of highlights where there was either an issue or where there is substantial compliance. I'll stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for Nelson regarding the report?
Did we have penalties at all
Yes.
during the period?
Yes, there are penalties. I'll pull up the spreadsheet here. They're a little bit higher this year. I think there's something in here. The penalties here for 2017 when compared to 2018. Are right here on this line where the dollar amount is for 2017 we had 5,821, and so far for this year we've had 17,920. Those are times when they are over a certain amount of time in that zone that they are penalized for $10 for every minute that they're over.
But the amount is actually more than tripled.
It has, when you look, however, at the number of calls that they have run, in this time, we're approximately 1,500 up on this time of year. During the non-existent spring season that we had a lot of low acuity calls between March and June where people were still dealing with the flu and respiratory illnesses. And then in June, when it fried us all with that nice sun that come out, there was a lot of calls that they ran for there. I would also mention that these stats and what I do for compliance are based only on when AMR arrives at the scene. As noted in the report, there are times where they have a lot more calls going on during the hour. However, if they do not arrive on scene, such as being canceled by the first responders, other public safety, canceled by the caller, or canceled by the alarm company, none of the penalties or requirements come into effect. So there are times during a couple of those hours, I believe they had close to 12 to 13 calls just in that 1 hour. Not all of them amounted to being late or accountable because they did not arrive on scene. So just because they are called or dispatched, the contract only goes into effect when they arrive. And we saw a lot of low acuity calls that came out because of those seasons. Each month I look at this last 6 months to see, and probably pretty close to 75% of the calls that they ran did not require advanced life support. When you average it through those 6 months, advanced life support meaning the highest level of care that they give. There were a lot of basic life supports, and there were a lot of interfacility transports from nursing homes, doctor's offices, the dialysis centers, the rehab hospitals, VA hospitals, several of them there, that they are still held accountable for because they come into the 911 system.
Nelson, do you find that AMR is in substantial compliance with the contract?
Yes, they are, very much so.
And have they been responsive when they have had a lot of calls come in to address how they assign their fleet or where they put their fleet?
Yes, they have. They, John Antrim, who is here, the operations manager, they have a system status that they look at on a daily basis. They also have a program that shows them real time where they are compared to where they either had projected they would be. They run their office folks that are certified as paramedics and EMTs. When it gets that extensive, they run those folks out there to also make up anything that they need to work on. It's all handled, however, according to triage as it comes into the EMD, the Emergency Medical Dispatch System. So those calls, we may have calls that get bumped because they are a lower priority compared to calls that are a higher priority that they have to get folks to. When you have 8 to 9 calls in that hour, they have to carefully decide where is that nearest unit, is it the appropriate unit, and what other calls do we need to work, and they do very well at that.
These fines are reinvested back into our community and education.
Yes, the grant process, which is still ongoing, the Ambulance Advisory Board will be briefed on that at the special meeting Wednesday. The fines and penalties are put into a special revenue account, which then the first responder agencies, the 9 of them here in Shawnee County, are allowed to apply for those funds for equipment, education, training, anything of that nature. The only caveats being it cannot directly help AMR, and it cannot directly help my office out that's supposed to be out there in the community. We had, I believe, 7 or 8 applications this year, and we're still going through them with the fire chiefs to get those refined. Once the Ambulance Advisory Board approves them or recommends the approval of them, then they come to the 3 of you, and you guys approve them or disapprove them, and then the checks are cut to those entities.
I don't have anything, no.
Commissioner Archer?
Opioid abuse and drug overdose is a problem that we hear is happening nationwide. Has it gotten to Shawnee County yet?
It's very minor from the stats that I'm looking at. There are a lot of articles out there. I do see many calls for overdoses. Some of them may or may not be opiate related. We have not developed a mechanism to decide which ones actually were and which ones aren't, because you can overdose on many more things. However, the medical director is working with the protocol working group on making sure that our protocols meet what it takes for if and when that epidemic hits us. Right now, they do run a lot of calls, but it's not to the epic proportions that we have seen across the nation.
Okay, I think it's important the public knows that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anything else? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the compliance officer's report.
Second.
Motion to approve the compliance officer's report by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. I do want to thank Mr. Antrim for being here from AMR, and thank you for being responsive in the work that you do. Our next item.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider awarding the bid for solar lighting in Skyline Park, Little Oakland Park, and Shunga Glen Skate Park to Clear World LLC at a cost of $28,080 with funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund and authorization and execution of contract C 295-2018 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Rec. We're seeking approval to go forward with this pilot project for installing solar light fixtures in those 3 parks. We did get bids, and these units do have a 10-year warranty. We anticipate payback approximately 10 years, and after that, then we're making money with the lights.
John, we had a huge disparity between the two bids, and is the product that we're buying of good quality and a good reputation?
Absolutely, yes. They have lights fixtures in Arizona and then up north, and I can't remember if it was Minnesota or Wisconsin. They do have quite a few fixtures out there. I've talked to them several times. They're very confident in their product.
Okay. And are there any other local parks?
I'm not 100% sure that these units exactly are the ones that are being used in Kansas City, Missouri parks. There is some here in Topeka, but they're not the same units, so not locally that I have seen, no.
The city of Lawrence, within the last 3 or 4 years, received a grant through Westar, now Evergy, for a green lighting program where they did solar lighting of their parks. Did we check with Westar or Evergy if we could have any offset for going green?
All the information, I'm not sure how they was able to do that. The information that we obtained, it said that government entities were not available for the grants, but we'll do some more checking on that.
Absolutely. And I think that's, again, where we can partner with making sure our parks are responsive. That's good for us.
Absolutely.
Questions?
Just, when do we anticipate installation then?
They said 75 days for delivery, but they wanted to go ahead and put it at 90 just to cover any issues. And then, excuse me, they will send us the installation kit ahead of time so that we can go ahead and pour the piers. So as soon as they come in, it's just a matter of plugging and play and standing them up.
John, if this is something that really works well and we're very happy with, I mean, I think this would be an ambitious program for us to consider, maybe for the Shunga Trail and some of our trail systems, having lighting at night. I mean, it's very heavily used, and there's parts of the trail that you feel very isolated on where there's not a lot of street lighting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has a lot of future potential. Absolutely.
Any questions? Commissioner Archer?
Are there any copper components to this lighting? And I'm being dead serious.
I'm sure there is somewhat inside, in the battery packs are actually inside of the light poles themselves.
Okay.
So, but they are secured inside it. So we will have to evaluate that and make sure that they are not accessible to the public.
I think anything we do, we obviously need to consider that anymore. These are LED lights, from what I
Correct.
understand.
Yes, sir.
I texted with John Knight over the weekend. These are LED, and I
They
don't
are.
think that was pointed out
That's,
very
yeah,
very well.
that's what enables the technology
Right.
to work
Yes.
with the voltages. Mhm.
Yes, and the payback and the long life.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I will move then approval to award the bid for the lighting project.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C296-2018 with Edwards Chemicals to extend the pricing for the purchase of various pool chemicals for 1 year.
Good morning, County Commissioners. David Alaker, Shawnee County Parks and Rec. This is just an extension of 2018 of the chemicals that we use for the pools. Stated in the contract that there's an option for a 1-year extension. They are agreeing with that. We just need your approval to move on.
Any questions for David? Commissioner Archer?
Did we go out for bids on the chemicals?
We did on 18, and we
Okay.
got all those chemicals numbers back, and they will continue to do with the same price.
Okay, so next year we'll go back out for bid?
Right.
Okay. I'll
Well,
move to-
2020 would be, 2019 is for this contract.
Right.
2020 will be for the new numbers, yes.
All right, very good. I'll move to approve the contract.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item C3, consider approval of request by the City of Topeka to Shawnee County to grant a permanent public improvement easement for sewer line improvements in Robinson Park.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Rec again. We received a request from the City Solid Waste Department for a sewer extension easement, and we could see that that would not impact our operation at all, so we request approval for that.
Any questions? Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to reclassify a road superintendent to a road and bridge superintendent at a salary including benefits of $94,885.04.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Flanagan, Public Works. Commissioners, this reclassification for the road superintendent to that of a road and bridge superintendent, I believe will improve our efficiencies as it relates to our use of manpower, equipment, and materials that we use on a daily basis to take care of our roads and bridges and culverts in Shawnee County. I would like to show some slides on that, but I don't know how to kill that out.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. See, when you're my age, technology gets to you. Commissioners, currently our road and bridge section is structured as you see right here. We have the road superintendent who we're going to try to move to the road and bridge superintendent. He reports direct to the Public Works Director, and he's in charge of our traffic signs in all of our 4 districts. And we have a assistant road supervisor that works directly under him. Over here, we have our bridge supervisor who's in charge of our equipment operations and bridge maintenance. And here's the problem. This is the inefficiency. This operation reports direct to the Public Works Director. I don't think that's the most efficient way of handling our manpower and equipment. And what we're proposing under this scheme here of make the road and bridge superintendent responsible for bridges and roads and traffic, reporting direct to the Public Works Director. This gives the road and bridge superintendent the opportunity to see what needs to be done and how efficiently and effectively he can move men and equipment to the areas that need to have the work done, the most important jobs that we need to do. I think that basically explains why we'd like to see this reclassification approved.
Questions for Tom regarding this? Commissioner Archer?
It sounds like you need somebody very competent to handle that whole operation.
Yes, sir.
Do you have somebody in mind?
The existing roads superintendent has been a longtime employee of Shawnee County. He also worked in the townships. He's very capable and competent, and I feel comfortable he could handle this job quite easily.
Okay. And it reduces the span of control for the director from 6 to 5, too,
Yes, sir.
which is, I think, positive. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Bueller?
Any questions? I talked to Tom about this earlier, so.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-297-2018 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, allocating additional funds in an amount of $10,000 for a total of $65,000 in the Chronic Disease Risk Reduction Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. In Kansas Department of Health and Environment gives us the Aid to Local grant every year, and this year, as I mentioned when we got that grant, that the chronic disease risk reduction portion was decreased from last year, so we had the opportunity to get another $10,000, and so I would very much like to accept that. We'll be using that money to work with the middle schools to establish some resist chapters to help Those students resist the use of tobacco and vaping, which we're seeing a lot of right now. Also be using it to help with our nutrition areas as far as the Food Policy Council and media. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions regarding this? This is good news for Shawnee County. So,
Indeed.
Move approval of the contract.
motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission. Okay. Commissioner Bueller, anything?
No. Congratulations to Becky, is she back there, to her son, was crowned homecoming king, so at Haith, that was a fun weekend, so.
Absolutely. Commissioner Archer, anything?
No. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, I'm happy to see that our county clerk is back after a festive weekend of celebrating her birthday.
It was. Somebody had to do it. Had to be me.
There was a lot happening. This is the time of the year where we have a lot going on in the community, from the cider days at the Expo Center. Kellen, how'd the cider days go?
Yeah, so I'll give a full recap on it next week after we finish up the financial settlement, but attendance numbers were up pretty dramatically, up over 1,000 attendance on the Saturday event alone. I don't have Sunday's numbers in yet, but a great event all in all. We were very busy. Not only did we have Saturdays, we had the KBHA State Barrel Race Finals. So if you came out to Saturdays, and on Saturday it was really busy and you had trouble finding a place to park, those are good problems to have.
Yes.
Definitely.
I just,
I apologize, Commissioners, it snuck up on me. I did have a couple of things I wanted to say in communications. This Thursday, Linda Oaks from the Health Department, this Thursday is our town hall conversation about the Community Health Needs Assessment. That will be at the Health Department from 11:30 to 1. I hope everyone can come out and tell us what we need to work on and give us your opinions about the health of Shawnee County. I will say that we had over 2,000 surveys come back. I was really pleased with the numbers, and mental health was the #1 issue that came out on those surveys. So we'll be hearing more about that on Thursday. The other thing I had is that flu shots are here. We've started Friday. The CDC recommends anyone 6 months and older that can have a flu shot, get a flu shot. And I know we hear a lot about, well, I got a flu shot and I got sick anyway. Well, that does happen sometimes. Sometimes it's not a perfect match, but it can prevent more serious complications and hospitalizations if you do get the flu. So we encourage everyone to get it. I got mine Friday. It was not bad. So, thank you.
thank you. Just, again, noting the activities in the community this weekend, I do want to thank Ron Brown with USD 501 Security. He came out to Meadows and helped coordinate the fun run for the kids and the school carnival, and also the Kiwanis out at Tecumseh for the Tecumseh Heritage Days. All the volunteers at the Aaron Douglas Art Fair, the cider days at the Expo Center, Washburn's Family Day, free activities for the kids, and then the football game with a win for Washburn, and also the zoo for Serengeti Nights, along with the Topeka Jazz and Food Truck. If you didn't find something to do, I just can't help you. So, Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, Executive Session.
There is a need for an executive session for items related to non-elected personnel, specifically for interview for a Public Works Director, with the interview to commence at 9:45. So we will be recessed from approximately 9:25 to 9:45, then going into executive session at 9:45, and it would be a motion to come back from executive session, let's say at 10:15.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
No action.
No action anticipated. Thank you. And I even had that wrote down.